In the beginning, God said to Abram, "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing." But Abram was childless and had no one in his household who could inherit the promise. When Abram was 99 years old, God visited him again, had a son when he was 100 years old. Then he named him Isaac, meaning laughter. Many years later, when Isaac was a young man, his parents lived in tents, moving from place to place with their flocks. They were very busy. Every day they looked after sheep, goats, cattle, and donkeys. But despite all this work, they were still very happy, because they knew that God had given them Isaac as a promised gift. One evening, while sitting outside of their tent, Sarah saw stars in the night sky and said to her husband, "Look at how beautiful it is. This must mean that our God is powerful, and our Isaac is blessed by him." Abraham looked at his wife and son and smiled. Then he took Isaac by the hand, walked to the entrance of their tent, and looked up to the stars together. The three of them enjoyed the beauty of the universe every single night. It was their favorite thing to do together. Isaac grew older and became a strong young man. He helped his parents with their flocks, and often played among the tents and huts where they lived with other people. But even though he was only a young boy, he already knew that he was very loved by his parents. They often told him stories about how God gave him to them when they were very old, and how much he was wanted and cherished. But when he grew up, Isaac continued to look up to the stars in the night sky. One morning, Abraham woke up early before sunrise. He looked up at the sky and noticed that the clouds were starting to clear away, revealing the sun behind them. Then he stood up and went to talk to his son Isaac. Abraham said, "Get the donkey ready and take my staff and my son Ishmael. We are going on a long journey for many days. You will need to be brave and take care of us during our travels." "Yes, father," answered Isaac. He saddled the donkey, put his father's staff on it, and climbed on behind him. Soon they heard the sound of footsteps coming closer and closer. It was his mother, Sarah. She looked worried and tired. "Where are we going?" she asked. "It's not important," replied Abraham. He looked back at his wife and son and continued, "I have something very important to tell you. It's a command from God. He told me to take your son, the one you nursed at your breast, the one you carried in your arms and loved very dearly, and sacrifice him as a burnt offering." Sarah could not believe what she had just heard. Her son was not supposed to die. She loved him too much to let that happen. She begged her husband to reconsider, but he shook his head sadly and said that God had commanded him to do this. So now it was time to go. Isaac looked at his mother, but she couldn't say a word. He turned around and climbed on top of the donkey. He didn't understand why they were going on this long journey, but he trusted his father and stayed quiet. As they rode away, Sarah watched them leave. She felt like her heart was breaking. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the ground got hotter and hotter, until it was almost too much to bear. Isaac started to feel thirsty and tired. He asked his father if they could stop for a moment, but Abraham kept walking without saying a word. Finally, after many hours, they reached the top of a mountain. There was an altar already built here, and next to it lay a sharp knife. Then Abraham told Isaac to get off the donkey. He helped him carry his staff, and without saying a word, led him towards the altar. At first, Isaac didn't know what was happening, but then he saw the knife, and suddenly everything became clear to him. He understood why they had come to this mountain. His father was going to sacrifice him. Although Isaac was only a young man, he wasn't afraid or sad. He looked up at his father with trusting eyes and said, "Father, here am I. Everything you have told me to do, I have done. Now do to me whatever you want." After hearing his son's words, Abraham's face showed sadness and grief. He hugged Isaac tightly and said, "I love you so much, my son. God will help us both." After letting go of Isaac, Abraham went over to the altar and laid him down on the stone. It was a cold and hard surface, but Isaac didn't seem to mind at all. He closed his eyes and waited patiently. Behind him, the sun rose slowly and gave a bright light to the whole landscape. Around him, birds were singing and the wind was blowing softly through the trees. When Abraham took the knife to slay his son, suddenly an angel's hand stopped his arm. He turned around and saw an angel with a bright light shining around him. The angel told Abraham that God had accepted his faith and obedience, and that he would not ask him to sacrifice his son anymore. Then the angel pointed to a bush nearby. It was full of thick branches and leaves. Abraham went over to the bush and saw that a ram was caught inside of it. He ran quickly to the altar, picked up Isaac, and hugged him tightly. He told his son that God had sent an angel to stop him from hurting Isaac. Then he went back to the bush, took out the ram, and sacrificed it instead of his son. As Abraham finished sacrificing the ram, he looked up at the sky. He thanked God for his mercy and forgiveness. Then he took Isaac by the hand, and the two of them went back home. When they arrived, they were greeted by Sarah at the entrance of the tent. She rushed over to Isaac and embraced him tightly. She was so happy that her son had returned. The three of them went inside the tent and sat down together. They told each other about everything that had happened and thanked God for being merciful. After a while, Isaac got up and walked outside. He looked up at the sky and saw a bright star shining in the dark blue. He knew that God had saved him and made him a blessing to his parents. So he fell down on his knees and prayed, "God, thank you for saving me. Please watch over me and protect me always." From that moment on, Isaac continued to look up to the stars in the night sky. Many years passed and Isaac became an adult. He married a woman named Rebekah, and they had twin boys. Their names were Jacob and Esau. Although Isaac was very old, he still took care of his family and taught them about God. One evening, when the sun was setting in the west, casting long shadows across the land, Isaac came out of his tent. He walked to an open field and knelt down on his knees. Looking up at the sky, he thanked God for giving him a son, watching over him throughout his life, and for keeping him safe from harm. As Isaac prayed, a gentle breeze blew around him, carrying the scent of flowers and herbs. The sound of crickets chirping filled the air, and the stars twinkled above him like tiny diamonds scattered across a black cloth. Feeling a deep sense of peace and contentment, Isaac continued to pray, asking God to bless his sons and future generations. And as the last rays of sunlight faded away, leaving the world in darkness, Isaac stood up and slowly walked back to the tent. His heart filled with gratitude and hope for the future, and that's the end of today's story. Do you think you can see the connection between Isaac and the stars? What do you think? Leave your thoughts below in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to receive notifications for new videos, and join us next time for another amazing Bible story. Till then, God bless you, and remember, always look up, for there are stars in your future.